Hello everyone, it's Mac, and we're going to talk about something called completing the square. This does freak people out a little bit, but stay with me, go step by step, and I think you'll understand. Before I go into this, I want to talk to you about what we call the trinomial square. You remember back when we were doing factoring, we'd have problems like this. X squared, let's go, sorry, I should have had this ready. I'll go with 36, and I'll go a plus 12x. Now, it only worked if you had a plus here. It has to be positive. And when we did that, if we were to just kind of factor this out, you would go, okay, third term is positive, signs are the same, take the sign in the middle, cool. And factors of this add up into that, and you found out that it was 6 and 6, and you went, oh, look at that, x plus 6, quantity squared, amazing. Do you remember doing these? And so what we learned is that if the third term is a perfect square, and when you square root it and double it, you get the middle, boom, you're gonna end up getting something like this. Well, if I have something like this, I know how to solve it by using some of the, some radicals and solving with radicals. You do need to know that section as well. But watch what I'm gonna do here. I'm looking at this and here, third term is negative 6, and okay, so if I start to do this game, I start putting it in, and third term is negative, and then subtract the 8, you're gonna find out you can't do it. You just can't do it. You can't come up with an answer. So what are you gonna do? Okay, well, here's what you're gonna do. We're gonna do what we call completing the square. We're gonna turn this into something that looks like that. Okay, and there's a couple different ways to do it. I'm gonna do the quick version right here, and if you hate it, you can do something else. You can usually do this with small numbers. I don't like that he says negative 6. That bugs me. However, what is half of 8? Half of 8 is 4. What's 4 squared? 4 squared is 16. If I can make that negative 6 instead say 16, all of a sudden I'm really happy. So let's just add 16. No, let's not just add 16, because that's not going to get me there. I'm actually going to have to add a 22, and this is something I can see in my head. If you can't see it in your head, that's okay. I'm going to give you a different way to do this. You just see if you like this or not, and if you don't, that's okay. So now, I can add 22 to both sides, and now look what I get. X squared plus 8x, what is 22 minus 6? Positive 16 equals 22. Well, it's not equal to 0 now. Now it's equal to 22. That's okay. Now, when I get this, the reason why I did that, because now look at this. X, square root of 16 is 4. 4 doubled is 8. So I have this the way I want. X plus 4 quantity squared equals 22. And as we learned in the radical sections, I can now square root both sides. Once I do that, I get x plus 4 equals plus or minus square root of 22. Now, we need it to be x by itself, so we're going to subtract 4 from both sides. And once I do that, whenever you have a plus or minus and you have a constant, write that constant in front of the plus and minus. So x is equal negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 22. And that, my friends, is your final answer. Now, we're going to have to do a couple of these for it to really lock in. So let me go do another one for you. I'm going to erase the board. I'll be right back to you. All right, let's look at this one. Okay, so the first thing I see, also, the only time you're going to do this is if the x value is even. If that said 15, I wouldn't even try to do this. Okay, because when you take the square root and you double it and all that, you kind of need it to be an even number. So, for me to solve this, and I got a 9 here, it's just a little confusing. I could subtract the 9 over here and see what I get, but it's going to be a little bit easier to do it this way. Watch this. What is half of 16? 8. What is 8 squared? 64. Okay, so I want that to say 64. So on this one, I can add, what can I add to 46 to make it say 64? And you should be able to see that it's 18. I can add 18 to both sides. So let's just do it. Add 18, add 18. Now I'm going to get x squared plus 16x plus 64 equals 27. Okay, now this is going to be x minus 8 quantity squared equals 27. How did I get the 8? What's the square root of 64? 8. Okay, 8 times 8 is 16. Now I don't know why I wrote that minus. It's going to be plus, obviously, because the middle one's plus. And if that's confusing, go back to the one that I did in the factoring section called special cases. And under special cases, that's where I talked about how to get from here to there. So if that part's a little confusing, go back. You'll see it in maxtutorials.com. Now, once I get here, I'm going to square root both sides. And I'm going to get x plus 8 equals plus or minus 27. I'm going to subtract, plus or minus square root of 27. Once I subtract 8, I'm going to get x equals, I'm going sideways there, negative 8 plus or minus square root of 27. And that is the final answer. And we write it just like that, okay? And so now can you find out the square root of 7 and add it to 8 and all that? The answer is yeah, you can, but this is considered acceptable, okay, for that. Now if it was a word problem, usually you would want to pull that out and make it kind of a real world number that we can measure and do all that. But generally speaking, we just leave that, okay? Now I want to do this one different way, so watch me do a third one. All right, I'm looking at this one. I've already tried it, you can try to do the factoring, the 2 parentheses, and you'll find that this doesn't factor into 2 binomials, okay? And so I'm looking at it going, well, what else can I do? And I see that the middle term is going to be even. When you see that the middle term is even, completing the square could work. Now before, I would figure out it was, and I would just add it to the 12. A lot of people will find it easier to just do this. Subtract the 12 from both sides. Just start there, and you get it so your x's are over here, and I'm going to leave a space equals negative 12. So now if you notice, I left a space because that's where I'm going to add what I need to complete the square. What is half of 10? 5. What is 5 squared? 25. Add 25. And you're going to add 25 to both sides. Once you've done that, now this is in the form. Remember, that has to be a positive 25. So this is going to break down into x. What's the square root of 25? 5. You double it, it makes 10. But the middle term is negative, so I need to make that one negative. Okay, and that's going to equal, now I've got to do this, which is going to be a positive 13. Okay, so taking all the constants and moving it to the right and then completing the square, usually you're going to be more accurate. I would say with the small numbers, you can just kind of play with it and figure it out. But honestly, this is probably going to be the more accurate way for you to do this. So now once you get that, you're just going to take the square root of both sides. And I'm going to get x minus 5 equals plus or minus the square root of 13. Remember, when you square both sides, you've got to do the plus or minus on it, okay? So now I'm going to add 5 to both sides. Boom, die. X equals, write the constant in front of the plus or minus. 5 plus or minus the square root of 13. Now, when would I do this? When I can't factor it, it's going to look like an x squared plus x plus a number, but it's not factorable, and then I've got an even number in there, okay? Because I can easily cut that in half. If it's an odd number, then I'm going to get a fraction, then I got to square the fraction, and you can do it, but it's a little messier. There's a better way if that happens, and that's called the quadratic equation, and that's going to be on the next video, okay? Let's do a few of these. Watch the videos, let's do the worksheets, and let's become experts on complete the square.